Badge Brigade, what's going on? This is a big one. This is a big Monday right here because I'm surrounded by winners. I mean, what are those lines about the company you keep? Yeah, man, I'm just going to keep hanging out with these guys till I get there. And I suggest you guys do the same because we didn't have one. We didn't have two. We had three ship jobs this weekend because my boy Numi on Friday night goes PGA, dupes himself 3 times, ships the damn thing. Nez comes out Sunday morning. He's like, yeah, Josh Jacobs, why not? Boom. Allen comes out. He goes, just a guy? Just a guy in the 503? Yeah, just a guy with 50 dimes in his pocket. Not a big deal. Woo! Boys are getting rich out here. Let's call them in. Let's bring in the real talent. How we doing, gentlemen?
Good. Thank you.
Oh, I can believe you're doing good. I can believe you're doing great.
It's a good morning. It's a good morning.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So congratulations.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
show. Yeah, that's great. You sucked back some pints last night or what? Oh, we lost them. All right. On to Nez.
Oh no! What happened?
Oh, here we
to the
go. Here we
boy?
go. He's back.
Okay.
There we go. How'd you celebrate last night, my man?
I celebrated all day. I didn't know I had a sweat until Josh Allen ran that rushing touchdown in. And I looked at the leaderboard and I saw it was pretty close. And then the last hour with the Devontae Adams was the guy that brought me to the top, and I was pacing back and forth. We started drinking at the witching hour. If you guys watch Red Zone, so like we've been drinking since noon. So
Yeah.
pacing back and forth and sweating every Devontae Adams catch. It was a good time.
Great.
Had some friends over, so
That's good
nice.
to do with friends, and it's fun that you had the inverse sweat of Nez because Nez was on the Jacobs side, you were on the Adams side, and somehow you guys both got home. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a Jacobs team behind me. I was sweating Marquise Brown, and then who else was I sweating? There was another one I was sweating. Oh, Sutton.
Oh yeah,
He could have got me too.
McCaffrey too kind of racked up some points. I was a little nervous there in that, or maybe was that a 1:00 game?
No, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah. He was racking up some points there, so that was that was a fun sweat too. Yeah, I mean, it just I didn't think Jacobs had that game in him. I was looking for 18 points, not 32. So that was crazy. That was a lot of fun.
I faded Jacobs in DFS, and he punished me there.
Yeah. It was unfortunate, but yeah, it was awesome. I was nervous there because Adams made a catch, and then before Jacobs got into the end zone, I was losing. I was in third place because I had 2 Devontae teams in front of me, so I was nervous as all get out. And then he punched that touchdown home, and that's when I decided to let the friends and family know, hey guys, I think I just won $10,000.
Let's go.
That was fun. I got to. I had to show receipts. They're like, no, you didn't. No way. I'm like, bro, I tell them I've been trying to get my buddies on Underdog for the longest, and they did start to get on it this week. But now I'm like, you guys, you guys beat me in this fantasy league every year, and I'm winning over here. So I don't know what to do.
Yeah, maybe come hang out, give it a try, right? I think you're gonna twist some arms to play this week.
Yeah, I think I might get some converts. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, boys. The first ever debut. I commissioned some dude on the internet to build us an overlay so that I could put you guys in the winner's circle. Apologies, it's not ready yet. It's coming next week. But this is the best I could do for you guys. Here we go. The big celebration. And here we go with the winner's circle. The 3 boys in the winner's circle. And, hey, who's this green one way down here paying the rake? I don't know who this guy is. I see a bunch of winners in that circle, though. So congratulations to you guys. Let's jump in this lineup. Alan, do you remember when you drafted it or, what your thought process was and stuff?
If on the website, you can't look at the draft boards or anything, but when you go to look at your lineups, it's my very last one on the bottom. So I'm guessing that was my last one I drafted.
Nice.
But
yep.
So yeah, that was my last lineup, which was probably Saturday night. I was drafting it. Tall boys.
So you didn't draft anything on Sunday morning?
No, I'm doing FanDuel lineups Sunday morning.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. So have you, what's your background here? Have you been grinding these games for a long time, or have you been grinding the DFS stuff? What's your jam?
Just like the screen name, just a guy. I'm no pro. I just do it for fun. Everything I've drafted on Underdog usually is, having a good time, drinking beers, having friends over.
Nice.
So I don't really take it too serious other than uploading, ranks and stuff. And then trying to outthink, like in my lineup, I played Miles Sanders. And he was like ADP 35.9, which, I watched your show last week where Herzig did the on-the-spot freaking modeling.
Yeah.
So that's what led me to Sanders. And he was a home favorite running back, right, on a good team. And it was leverage.
And that bad weather, yeah.
Leverage off Hurts, too, since I got Josh Allen.
Yeah, so just for because Nez has vowed this week we're going to upload this stuff to the audio. Just for the audio, it was a Josh Allen team. So I imagine Josh Allen 101 or 102, something like that. Yeah, Devontae Adams in the second round, Eckler in the third round, Metcalf in the fourth. So you got the mini Seattle stack, Metcalf plus Hawkinson, and then Hawkinson plus Sanders pending. You could have gone fifth or sixth round, but this looks to me, like Allen in the first, Adams in the second, Eckler in the third, Metcalf in the fourth, then Hawkinson, then rounded out with the low-owned leverage in Sanders. This is a beautiful lineup, man. Like, congratulations. That's a very sharp build just in general.
I had 55% St. Brown, too, before he got ruled out. So I was taking up all that value. And then I was grabbing Hawk a couple times. And then when St. Brown got announced out, I thought I was dead because I didn't have a lot of Hawk. But a few more drafts later, people started drafting him. So I ended up with like 6 Hawk out of 45. So
nice.
Okay. Yeah, that was going to be my next question is total entries you went with there. So 45, you trying to get like 40, 50 down a week, or is it just kind of when you got time? What's your mindset there?
Yeah, I try to get 40 to 50 just on the weekends. Yeah.
Cool. So you said you had a ton of Amon-Ra. Did you have a swap in mind, or were you just like, hey, next man up? You just did, yeah. So do you remember who that was? You're just like letting Jesus take the wheel there.
Pretty much.
That's great.
My highest owned was I had 60%, I think, of Andrews.
Yeah.
And he got like 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, you're preaching to the choir because I was 40% Andrews. New me was what you have, new me like
52.
Yeah. So I mean, we were kind of all on that Andrews, and it's kind of something we talked about throughout the week. It's like, yeah, man, this game could flop. Like this game could definitely it's within the range of outcomes that this game, doesn't get home, and then that's exactly what you leveraged off. You had one piece of that contest where we talked about. We can't full fade that game environment just given the price of those ADPs. So, you end up with one piece of that game, the correct piece to have, Allen, and then you build out other parts of other contests. Yeah, I think that was real sharp lineup, man.
Yeah, man. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Feels good. Feels good.
I can imagine. Is that your first like kind of big score of this magnitude? Have you had something on FanDuel before or?
Yeah, last year I won 25K on NBA DFS. And
nice.
I wasn't even really sweating it. And I guess Lillard, if you guys don't basketball at all, like missed a 3, I guess, at the end. And if you would have hit that, I would have won the 100K. So, yeah, 25 was pretty fun.
Yeah. Yo,
I don't even want to know that. I don't even want to know that stuff.
Never sweat the games, boys. Never sweat the games. Check the lineups. I was watching a movie.
I think I was watching a movie with a kid, and then I just, periodically check my phone and, oh, wow, I think I got a chance here. And then, 25K.
That's sick.
Easy game. Easy game.
Easy game.
You love it. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, Alan, we're not going to take a ton of your time. Appreciate you coming on. First debut of the winner's circle here. Yo, this is actually funny because I don't know if you watched the show midweek last week or whatever. We were actually in a draft with you, and we did this down the rabbit hole, just a guy in 503, and we're like searching
serious?
area codes. Yeah, you can find it. Like it was, it was last week, I think, or early last week. Yeah, and then we're like, where's 503 at? And then we were like guessing and shit like that. And then Nez looked it up. It's Portland, right? You're Portland guy?
Yeah, we doxed you on stream. I'm sorry.
That's right. A little south of Portland, but yeah, northwest area.
Nice.
That's
cool.
funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah. That's good though. No,
I
so
wonder
as
how
soon
many
as
people
I
have
said,
done that too. How many people are like, "Where the fuck's 503?" Like,
Yeah, now they
That's
are.
immediately what I do when I see an area
Yeah.
code. I'm like, well, where's this at? Yeah.
yeah. Well, now that you're in the winner's circle, first member of the winner's circle, you love to see it. Congrats, man. Good luck this weekend, and enjoy the rest of your day, bud.
thanks, guys. Appreciate for having me on.
Yeah. Congrats, man.
Yeah, congrats
Later,
again.
guys. Thanks, dude.
Yo, that's nice, man. I love hearing just quote unquote regular dude,
Right.
taking it down. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, like this isn't my jam. This isn't my full-time job. This is just like, yeah, I'm showing up, I'm getting my 40, 50 entries in. Like
Dude's
that's
got a
legit.
social life. He's got kids, and
Yeah.
he's out here just like drafting while like changing diapers and like
Yeah.
just and having a quality social life. Like,
Yeah.
good for you, man. Way to show that balance can reap you some benefits.
I
Silas,
like the,
thank you, man. Thank you.
I like knowing he was heavy on Andrews just like us.
Right. No, but that goes to
Yep.
show you, Numi. It's like,
Exactly.
yo, man, we had so much of our top exposure wrapped up in one dude, and he still gets home with a different construction, with a different lineup. Just shows the value of
Yep.
diversity on the slate, right?
Yeah, my two Jared Goffs just had Jonathan Taylor. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
and so
Yeah,
did
that's good.
my actual sweat. So I kind of Jonathan Taylor pulled the JJ of this week for Nez last week, basically, except wasn't as big of a rug pull.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, he's interesting.
Nez, moving on, my friend. The second member of the winner's circle here. I actually
Here we
didn't do
go.
many of these contests because I just found the 12-mans took so much longer to fill that I was just like, when I was rattling them off, when I was rattling them off, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll just keep pushing these 6-mans because I can do it. I did one the morning of. Look at that, 24 points. Beautiful.
Man.
And just got so weird. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going crazy off the wall. Osimo talked me on to like, hey man, get on that, a little bit of that what am I trying? Steelers stack. I was like, ooh, okay, maybe I'll get a little Steelers stack with a run back. Why not?
Hey man, this Osimo character. Who is he anyways? Is he even good at DFS?
No, he's not even a thing, eh? Yeah, but I wanted to throw one in to make sure I had access to the contest data, like just
nice.
To, like,
that you're a
see
trooper, dude. You're a trooper for that.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about this lineup,
Sure.
man. Do you remember draft slot, when you drafted, anything like that?
So yeah, I don't quite remember the draft slot, but I know that that Derrick Henry was definitely like the first overall pick there. I really liked him relative to the rest of the running backs. I thought that he was in like a quintessential like Derrick Henry spot. I didn't think that the Colts, I mean they beat the Chiefs, but I really wasn't scared of them. They felt like a team that he could like have that Derrick Henry game against, and 22 points. Yeah, that was pretty sweet. I drafted 7 of these goal line stands, and I did one of the Hail Marys as well. I really like it took me until like Saturday, and I sent Numi a DM. I'm like, dude, like these 12-mans, given the slate and how like uncertain we are of like the best plays this week, with given weather and everything, I'm like, these 12-mans are where it's at, because the chalk, the heavy ADP, that stuff that rises to the top, that's gone so quick. And now the guys that are left is like, okay, now we can start to have some fun, get creative. I cashed and I did 7 lineups, man. I cashed in all but 2 in the goal line stand.
There you go.
And cashed in the Hail Mary. So I haven't gotten on the whiteboard yet and looked at the slate in detail. But I will. And if it's as murky as last week was, I literally like haven't looked at this week at all. I will probably go back to these 12-mans, because like this is how you kind of like, you throw that murkiness to the side, and it's an easier way, and it feels better if you're gonna fade like a monster game like Bills Ravens. It's so much easier to fade in 12-man, because like it just like makes you have more options, and that game is less likely to be concentrated on one lineup that'll tilt your face off. So I just want to show this. I didn't add this. I didn't add anything here.
Here we go.
Look at these little dots. Look at my dots here, baby. That was a target. It was a target for your boy. So
I love it. Yeah.
The process, baby.
The process. We're trusting the process there. Well, we know it was a target for you because you talked it up on the show all week.
Yeah,
so I mean, like, that was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Just for I went back to the wrong layout. My bad. Just for the audio and stuff like this. This was a Jared Goff double with no bring back. Just a straight ass boss move. Just Goff, Reynolds, who you mentioned on the show, Hawk, who you mentioned on the show, CeeDee Lamb, who was Numi's boy this week, Derrick Henry, and then getting unique with high volume touches at a low price point and low ownership in Josh Jacobs. Just a beautiful lineup, man. Congratulations on that. 10
Appreciate
dimes.
it,
yeah, you gonna do anything a little special there? Maybe take the girl out for dinner? What are you thinking here?
Well, if memory serves me right, our anniversary is in 20 days. So
Okay.
I
There you go.
gotta get her something nice.
Yeah, here you go. I'll do you one here, man. I got you. We got the champagne. I had it ready for you guys. I forgot it for the big winner's circle intro.
Completely destroy your gear.
No,
Your
that's
setup.
so good. Yeah. Oh, that's good, man. I'm very happy for you guys. And then Numi, the golf on Friday night, man. Duping yourself 3 times. I don't have access to the golf lineup or the data, but just talk me through the process of duping yourself 3 times.
You really want it? All right. So I literally just I make my rankings just kind of how I see off projections and then how stats go, and I just use a couple key stats that I weight heavier, and then
Okay. Hey, don't hold out on us. Give us at least one of them. What's one of the stats you like?
So like strokes gains putting. So like if I see someone it's like if I'm looking at them and they're gaining strokes in every other category, and then they're the only one they're losing is strokes gains putting, and they happen to maybe go +2 on the round. They seem to just like just like any daily, the recency bias hits pretty hard. So like there was a guy Emiliano Grillo, basically, if anyone knows golf.
Never fucking heard of him, bud.
Yeah. He basically was a first or second rounder in these drafts, like back end first, early second. Okay. And I was getting him the first draft I did, I got him in the third. And then the second draft I did, I got him in the third. I literally just loaded up auto ranks and then just auto drafted and went to bed. And that's Beautiful. How I duped myself. And I just used that. And he happened to put up the highest score on the day with he shot 7 birdies, 7 birdies, had 4 consecutive birdies, and then not shooting a bogey gets you like a big bonus as well. So yeah, he carried my all those teams up there. And then so I didn't even know I had a sweat until like the last 4 holes basically, and I see I'm slowly moving up, and so that was pretty nice. But
love it, dude. No, congrats on that, man. Like I love this weekend. All the bros getting it. This is great. Hey, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out to I Was Inverted, Paul. Friend of the show, always in the chat, always in the Discord, one of the nicest dudes around there just to chat with. Clearly a very sharp guy. We met him in the MLB streets, and when he was putting in his 150 BBMs, and just great player, came second to Allen. So yeah, I mean, just shout out to him too. This was a great weekend for Badge Bros and Badge Brigade and those adjacent to the circle. So I love to see it.
Yeah, we love it. Love it for the brand. Love to see people, even if, just adjacent to us, just friends, just in general. I mean, this is a growing community, not just with us, but just in general with Underdog. So it's really cool to see that, that we're out here like taking this down, and it's cool, man. It's a movement. It's a movement.
Yeah,
get with
great it is, and appreciate the shouts when it does happen. Like they reach out to us, right? Like Alan's been watching the show and stuff, but we've never really chatted before, and he just instantly reaches out when he wins. It's like I love it.
It's incredibly dope.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. This is a nice pivot based on what Numi said about the auto ranks. So. Big day at Underdog. They introduced 2 new styles of contest. We'll get into the Monday Night Football one after, but I just want to get your guys' take on the auto draft. So they introduced this new format called Instant, and they're basically for cash games, and they're basically for 3-mans, 4-mans, 12-mans, I imagine they'll adapt to. But for those like $10 price points, and you can just, I could bring it up on the screen real quick, just so while we're talking about it, just so people know exactly what I'm talking about. I found it on the app before. I imagine
it's just go to the NFL, click the NFL tab on the lobby.
Okay, we'll do lobby. Yep, and then the NFL tab. Yeah, and what I'm referencing is this purple little lightning bolt here. And
Yeah.
basically what it introduces is the ability for you to upload ranks, upload those ranks versus your opponents, and then the software takes over and just drafts for you. So it's eliminating one of the things that we've talked a lot about in the past is the time commitment necessary to filling these contests, because it's not like DFS. I can upload 150 lineups or one lineup in DFS, and it's going to take me about the same amount of time, whereas this is, there's a time commitment. And Underdog, sharp as shit, as always, just going right in there and adding this kind of being like, okay, let's feel this process out for people. Well, what do you guys think? Like, just in general, what do you think about that?
Very cool addition to the site. Very cool. Big fan of it. Easy to understand, and it looks cool whenever you actually like enter one of those too. It's a nice little like it hits the pleasure sensor in the brain whenever you finally register, when you actually register for one. So good job there.
I haven't done one yet. What does it look like?
I mean, it's just like a little like full screen, like on your phone. Like it takes up the full screen. It's like purple, and it's like, you sure? Here's how it works. You hit enter, and then it's green. And I don't know if I just broke up there, but then it like turns green. It just looks good. They do a really good job with like their UI and their UX.
Oh, naturally, yeah. Can you watch it then? So it simulates the draft, and you can watch it simulate the draft, or it just tells you that you've entered it?
Yeah, so if you just click enter right there, you won't enter it. It'll bring up the prompt. Bring up the prompt on screen.
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
Yeah, and then you can choose like don't show this again. There is no drafter, and so it's just like random number generator. So it's like whether you pick 1, 2, or 3, and then it's going to go in your ranks, and then it's going to take out. It's just like everybody's on auto draft, except it happens instantaneously.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it's a really cool. I mean, this is right up like guys like Freezer and those kind of players' alley, where they're doing that in the showdown slates as well. Like even when I was max entering baseball in the middle of the summer and they changed it to 67, like it was damn near 5 hours to get 67 entries plus the 2 or 3 $25 ones plus the 100 single entry. Like it was taking a lot of time. And then I was like, well, I'm drafting these anyways or waiting in these lobbies. I'm going to jump in these 3-mans or these heads ups. And it was just Freezer in all of them again. And I was like, how the shit is this guy doing this? Yeah. And now with something like this, it's kind of like, oh my, look out. Like guys are going to get some serious volume down.
Yeah. Part of that. And I'm curious what you guys think as well, is what, like if I was to do a bunch of these cash lobbies, I think I would still opt for doing the regular lobbies and then putting myself on auto if I wanted to do this, just because I think personally these like quick draft lobbies are going to lend themselves to like the sharper badge players that that do this like all the time. And I'd want to like just to, from a competitive standpoint, just want to put myself in a different lobby and just throw myself on auto draft. Like it doesn't make a difference to me. But
no, I think that's a pretty sharp point, Nez. Like I think the players that are going to gravitate to these are the players like us or me or Freezer or whatever. Like that's who's going to gravitate towards these, and that does create a tougher game ecosystem for sure, right? Yeah, Numi, what do you got to add on the flash drafts, or what did they call them? Instance?
No, They're called instance. Yeah, instance. I'm in lockstep. Like there's nothing to add. Won't take up any time there. Lockstep with everything Nez just said. Both points.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so now the big elephant in the room here is the way they've switched up the Monday night contest. And
it's fun.
Yeah, I did.
It's maybe not perfect, but it's it's work in progress. But man, now they are fun, a lot more fun to draft than your standard single game. So.
Absolutely, and I threw out a tweet earlier about it. It's just like, okay, if you don't know the back end side of these contests or know the back end company side, is when they put out these contests, it's not risk free, right? They have to guarantee money to all these contests, right? So every time they're putting out a contest like this and they're switching a format or they're switching whatever, they're risking the chance at being exposed to overlay, thus losing money by putting out a new variety of this contest. So for Underdog to be taking like risks like this, like risks in quotations, that, hey, this contest isn't going to be a model that our player pool likes or adapts to, and then they're risking overlay and exposure for themselves. Like, I think it's a very shrewd move by them to be willing and be bold enough to keep doing this. They did it with the 2-game slate last week. Then they're doing it with the new full PPR plus kicker plus quarterback on this slate. And I think it's like, because for a game to be deemed a skill game and not like a gambling based contest, thus so it can be legal in X amount of states in the US there, it has to be a guaranteed prize pool. So like they're putting up $100K to try this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you have to respect the shit out of that, because DraftKings has been doing this shit for years and they don't change anything, regardless of their player requests, regardless of their super users, regardless of all the people paying the rake, right? Yet Underdog is coming out here and they're obliging at every interval to make quality contests for us, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's very sick.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's, it's a stepping stone to perfect, right? Like this contest definitely has, some kinks to it and whatever. Like Eric's bringing up the fact that the kicker scoring is trash. Like we can get into the specifics of this and whatnot, but just the overarching fact that they're doing this, like, big golf claps, big Fs in the chats for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've done 3 drafts so far. I guess
you haven't seen the kicker scoring. It's not good.
Wasn't it just
okay? Well, it's okay. So we got -2 for an extra point, 1 for an extra point, 3 for a 50-yard plus, and where's the other ones? The other ranges.
4 for 50.
Or sorry, less than 50 is 3, greater than 50 is 4. So a field goal is worth a field goal basically, and a missed one is a negative.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely I think they become more viable. The scoring could be, changed, but in a game, say like we were just doing the Steelers and Browns or something like that, where you think it could be maybe more field goals, like it just adds another layer into it. But yeah, that's
absolutely.
Yeah,
it's interesting that it's -2 for an extra point missed and then 1 for a made. That's the one thing that sticks out to me.
Yeah, they definitely punish. Kickers can definitely get punished here, and I do think kickers are viable. Like it's not like, don't get me wrong, I just think that the way that they chalked up the scoring could be improved, and they immediately asked for feedback. Like as soon as they posted it in the Spike League Discord, Red Mamba immediately came in and was like, "Hey guys, new contest, like give me feedback."
Yep.
Like that's what makes them different. But it's so needed for these single games. So needed.
Well, I mean, it just introduces a whole new realm of correlation patterns, right? Because we can port our showdown knowledge into these contests, and we can talk about how, you want to add a kicker, but you want to add to it in certain patterns, like not with same team quarterback, but rather with opposing team quarterback, or blah, 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 right? Like we can dive into the weeds of this, and we should in a second here. But just like as an overarching thought, is it just introduces so many more variables, right? And I mean, forget the kickers for a second, and just the fact that quarterbacks are now in the pool, and then they even up the scoring a little bit by adding the PPR. Like I just think that makes the game so much deeper.
They saved the single game contest with that.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think as basically like by doing this, it is obviously what we talked about. It's not set in stone, so. They've taken probably how we see. They're going to see how the scoring works and everything. They're going to get it, and then we're going to have a game on Thursday that they're going to probably roll out something with some tweaks. You know what I mean? Like that's what I will piggyback on, and I can't emphasize enough. That's awesome is the fact that they came in right away and said that, and they're like, let us know, like, and Rudman on Twitter, like, we know it's not perfect. We're figuring it out. You know what I mean? Like. That's what's awesome. So
yeah,
even though that we don't like some of the scoring and they should have done this, like it's still the most fun single game contest, and I'm actually excited to draft it versus like you know what I mean?
Yeah, like this morning I woke up being like, hey, you know what? I'm probably not going to play the Monday night game tonight. Like just kind of like, hey, I've been down that road so many times. Like unless I'm willing to put 150 in and start auto drafting some stuff and just wait on the correlation patterns of getting someone to gift me a cup plus whatever, a cup plus Debo in the old scoring format is I guess what we would have been searching for. Like just waiting on that gifted entry. I was kind of like, what the shit's the point in playing, right? So now they introduce this, and it's like, boom, I did 20 for breakfast, right? Like here, okay, yeah, let's mess around with this and let's see. Talking specifically about the game format and what we're working with right here, my first inclination was kickers offer a solid mean projection, a solid
Yeah.
floor projection, and they'll be part of quote unquote unique or builds, because I think people will always gravitate in the same way they gravitate in Showdown to being like, I can pick the touchdown scorer before I pick the correct kick. Or I mean, I could pick the correct touchdown scorer before I pick a kicker, right? Give myself some outs. So guys will be gravitating to, like, if we talk about like Ben Skoranek or Juwan Jennings or Kyle Juszczyk, people will still be clicking those names instead of clicking kickers because it's not as sexy to do so. That was my first inclination. The scoring kind of changes that. Did you guys have the same thought process, or did you gravitate elsewhere?
Nez, go ahead.
Yeah. I felt the same way. I do. It definitely, like, I could not, just playing this or drafting this, I could not imagine this not being this format. By the way, like there is not enough skill position guys. There are not 12 skill position guys in this game to do this contest. So it would have been a disaster. But because of that, yeah, I think the kickers absolutely have value here. And for me, at least, whenever I'm like the Cooper Kupp number one, it's hard for me to get like anywhere other than a kicker for my last pick so far.
Right. Yeah, I think
you're saying you're getting a kicker, and it's hard to differentiate from that, or you don't want a kicker.
Yeah, I'm almost always getting a kicker so far.
That's how I've been going. Yeah, that's how I've been kind of treating it as well. And I had the first thought of like, where are they in ADP, and just seeing like of who's going. And I think there's one other person that maybe clicked a kicker. Otherwise, if I were to save the draft boards, it's just been me. And it's like it just goes to basically the lineup you're building. And I think that was a great point of what you said, Showdown specifics, and porting that over. Like you can have a kicker in that right lineup, because yes, this game can be a 9-14. You know what I mean? Like if you get the right, those points will be important, and that will be in the lineup. So yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like it's with the scoring being so, that we don't like it, or not that great for kicking, as we're saying, and people have been putting in the chat and in the Discord. If that's making them not want to do like click kickers, or hasn't been, I don't know how often they're going. Like that's another thing to easily get unique. And I mean, it can play out in so many different ways that, I've been grabbing kickers in all of my lineups so far. So
cool. Yeah, no, I think I like that approach for sure. Just like, because nobody wants to cheer for the shitty game environment. Nobody wants this game to be 17-14, right? When you're drafting a fantasy team and you're drafting these teams, you're gearing up for like, hey, we want a 50-point total, and I want to have all 4 touchdown scorers on my team. And that's just not how football works, right? Like that's just not how it always gets home. And you see the slates in which, are low scoring and mucky and whatever, when people have exposures to the kickers and the defense and stuff on Showdown, is when the sharps come out to play, right? That's when they take advantage of what's going on. Just because every recreational player gravitates to trying to build the sexiest lineup, right? And sexy lineups don't always win, right?
Yeah. We know that all too well.
Yeah, I mean, you had Josh Jacobs, for fuck's sake.
Hey, man, that's my guy. Dude, that's my guy. That was the team of just my favorite plays. So I love it, man. Your favorite plays.
I haven't seen anyone get more dump offs than that. Was just dump off after dump off. I'm just sitting there and just like, I mean, at this point, he shouldn't even be sweating. The dude's getting more catches than Devontae. He's like, Josh Jacobs is the number one on the squad right now.
Yeah, man, that was the game.
Big shout out, Paul, in the chat.
What's up, Paul?
Yeah,
congrats.
we gave you a shout out earlier, so scroll it back. But congrats on the second place, 20 dimes yesterday. One for the good guys, right? Love to see that.
Yeah, that was
some other stuff.
Lineup, so.
Yeah, I just lucked into Ayuk at the 12. Holy smokes! Wow. Yeah, I mean, like that's what happens with introducing kickers. Is other people are on their 20th build, and they go, okay, I already got Kupp plus Kittle plus Ayuk, so I'm a pass. And then all of a sudden, it falls into somebody else's lap. So it does introduce another dynamic, because I was thinking about this contest through in my head this morning, where you know how we're always kind of skeptical of how people obtain certain rosters. How did you end up with ADP 1 and ADP 2 in a showdown contest on the same team? And tonight is kind of conceivable in my opinion. I think there's I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's going to exist just like in a logical fashion, in my opinion, because you could see someone goes Cup 1, then the following person goes Debo, right? Yeah. Then the person at the corner goes running back plus Kittle or Ayuk. Then the second person goes Jimmy to stack with Debo, and you can see it occurring. I don't think it's likely, but someone's going to end up with a Cup plus staff team, and it might be over from the jump. I don't know. It just adding more variables to the player pool is going to create dynamics for different constructions to be built, is all I'm kind of seeing. Just in general with these contests, do your guys' eyes gravitate to building 3 1s or building 2 2s or building 3 1s on the underdog side? For reference, the Niners are 1.5 point favorites currently at this point in time. Team totals are both flirting around 20, 22, something like that. Where do your eyes gravitate toward?
I like doing like a little onslaught action. Absolutely. I right now, like what I have a couple of is like a cup onslaught with Robbie Gould as like the last pick, you know, where like, okay, none of the 49ers are scoring touchdowns, and it's like all Niners or all Rams like this game. I haven't done it with the Niners yet, just based on the way that my drafts have gone, but I do want to do something similar on the Niners side just to get me some exposure to that, just because we see these type of builds work well in Showdown, and now we are one step closer to being a draft version of Showdown. So I think you definitely should be considering this if you're drafting in mass.
Yeah, I like that. Numi, you got anything to add there, bud?
No, I yeah, locked up. Won't take up.
What do you?
The one thing is that comment of that Willis just put in the chat. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Let's talk about one thing before we talk about that. Do you guys think this contest would benefit by having defense added as well?
I mean, obviously, if they, I think it'd be interesting. I always thought way back when they could, if they in the sense of the single game format, they should just do like IDPs. But I'm like that. Thinking about it, it's like they'd have to make the scoring perfect, so it's not slanted towards offense. So there's no point. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But yeah. Defenses or some sort of IDP, just so it's totally different from any other game out there. That makes it. Again, to your point, it just adds way more options, and it just makes. I mean, you could theoretically see someone come over here and from a DFS and then just take a defense in like the second round because they're like, I'm building that defense team, and that's where I need to take them, and all of a sudden that just changes up your draft board. So. It would be making it a lot more fun too. So I think defenses are probably what they add next.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I felt about that. I was thinking about it a little bit this morning, but I think I want to see this play out, and not that a 1-game sample is going to really tell us anything, but I want to see it play out, see how the roster constructions look, see how people build in terms of correlation and that sort of thing. Be very interesting. So let's touch on what Willis is saying. He says he's seen a screenshot already of Cup, Staff, and Jimmy. It's interesting because we do still arrive at the same problem in which we had previously as, okay, we're all just chasing a super team, and the only way you can get to super team is volume, and that's why Freezer does so well in these contests. I don't know, what is your knee-jerk reaction to reading that? Like, you see a Cup, Staff, Jimmy team. Like, that doesn't imply it's going to win. That doesn't imply that it's even the best correlation model to build out a winner. But does that deter you in this contest? What do you guys think?
I don't know that it deters me, but it's still, the nature of these single game contests are that, like, there's going to be like 0.9, like this might be a 0.5% outcome in these lobbies. And it's like, well, like, sorry, you didn't get lucky. And it comes down to luck. It's like the same problem with, then it sort of like becomes gambling, where it's like you need to, like, you're playing roulette and you're hoping that you get the super team. So I don't know. I one thing that I would like to see is, like, even if there is no collusion, involved with that if there is only like two, if there's a single digit number of those, like, of those type of teams, I think at a certain point, you might have to, like, step in and just like refund the lobby. But I know that they're, like, it's not a perfect thing, and that when you draft these tournaments, you draft that, and you sign your rights to not tilting and not getting pissed at Underdog whenever that shit happens. Because
no, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know
it's within the range outcomes. It's within range outcomes, right?
I will say, it's just the thing that we talked about earlier is, like, when you get those lobbies, I'm totally aware. Like, we talked about this earlier, John, about your lineup earlier versus you got, like, a lineup that I'm like, I have no, like, I know you did not collude. It's the fact that where do they draw the line at this is collusion versus this is a lobby where you just lucked into them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, where do they draw that line? Because we've had like that conversation where it's just like, I'm totally aware. A lot of the times I'm just like, I'm with you. They just got lucky. They had volume. They had a guy that for some reason took Jeff Wilson and Tyler Higbee with their first two picks, and that's just what he did. You know what I mean? Like, they have that, and like that.
And we don't know
exactly. We don't
that's
know
Tyler
that
Higbee's brother and Jeff Wilson's his best friend.
So
like,
we don't know any of the circumstances. We don't know that they could be totally, like, not. They could be on a substance and they're just clicking buttons and blah blah blah. They have rank set,
exactly,
any different thing. But it's just, where do they draw the line of that? Of that happening, because it's just that and then, again, it's most of the time I don't think collusion. I just think, oh, they put in volume, or they didn't, and they only did 10, but that one line they happened to get two guys that it's just their first time ever playing this format, and this is their only drafts they're doing. So that's the only thing with the clue. I have a, like, it's, unless you see something, you see it and you're like, oh, it's collusion, but it's just like, is it collusion or luck? That's my only thing when I see it.
Oh, yeah,
so
no,
like,
exactly.
It's not knee-jerk collusion. It's like, what is it?
Right. That's forever going to be a debate in all these types of contests until there's a full-fledged, transparent roadmap to how they handle these situations. Because just from the Underdog side, you definitely can't throw out a lineup simply because they ended up with Cup, Staff, and Jimmy in the same lineup. But you also, for the integrity of the contest, maybe can't allow it either, right? So it's very interesting. I
think Silas's point in there is really he put in there basically, and I'm gonna piggyback. So it's kind of like they could look into it and be like, has the people that were in that draft only entered one contest, and is this guy drafting volume, and then, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they can look into that back end and they can determine more, you know what I mean, stuff like that, but we wouldn't have access to that. So that's the only thing. It's like, I think that's a really good point.
I think volume is a good indicator just for the audio. Silas brings up the fact that volume plays a role, and in people's past volume plays a role into how they would evaluate how someone built a contest on a slate. Like, I don't really question anyone who's playing volume to ever be in a matter of colluding, but then there's the extreme outlier possibility. Well, there's also the extreme outlier possibility that someone's doing it at scale. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to attach any names, or I'm not saying, I'm just saying the possibility exists. I'm not saying that actually exists. I'm just saying, in range of outcomes, there's interesting, right?
He just said your word.
oh my God. Put a quarter in the jar for tracking combinatorial draft members for collusion. Wow, we're not even talking ownership here. We're talking combinatorial users in the draft. Oh my God, all my insides are tingling right now, Eric. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. And then there's stuff like this, like Chad brings up, this is what happened in poker. So, I mean, by now you guys know, but like, I used to play a million hands a year and was, a sponsored poker player.
You played poker?
Blah. Yeah, exactly. Oh. Right. And never talked about it before. And basically this is how they stopped collusion initially, was monitoring IP addresses and, did people have VPNs or fraudulent ones? And then they would play versus one another. And to give some background in terms of the poker side, is it was happening, and it was happening at scale, and it was happening by players that were at the top of the leaderboard every day, day after day. So I'm not suggesting that that's happening here, and I'm not suggesting that it's going to happen in the future, but it's within the realm of possibilities, because if there's money available in a contest, people will find a way, right? People find a way to cheat video games, and they're playing for fake in-game currencies, right? So you don't think if there's like contests that routinely have $10,000 available, $20,000 available at the top every single day, that people aren't going to try? Oh, well, you best believe they're going to try, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And here. And Silas is bringing up some good, this is good interaction amongst the chat here. He's bringing up the fact that like Underdog's already removed the ability to play by proxy, like, can't connect with a VPN. And like, that's 101 of taking care of business on Underdog's side.
That's a big rip to our airport drafters, or our airplane drafters, by the way. You can't, in-flight Wi-Fi won't let you draft anymore. So you got to mass reg beforehand, and then you're drafting while you're boarding a flight. I may or may not know from some sweaty experience.
I just registered for slow drafts, and then while I was in Cancun, just being a sicko that way. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's gone now. That is a
So it's interesting that cheating's top of mind right now. Cheating's top of mind because of a couple of things that are going around. There's a poker community one. I don't know if everyone's seen the Garrett hand where inexplicable call with Jack High from a recreational player trying to make it, who's, also trying to make a name for herself and blah, 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 and go down the rabbit hole of that one. Then there was this fishing one that was like, guys were weighting fishes and they were making $300K a year, winning these contests by gutting fishes, adding weights. Filling them with lead, then catching them. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just, I think that's why we're having the conversation right now, is just it's generally top of mind. So it's interesting to just throw this shit out here.
Yeah, chess too.
Yeah, and the chess one. Willis brings up the chess one that was going on. Yeah. Anyways, let's bury let's make the assumption that everyone in these games is part of it. Can you guys hear that dog bone?
Little bit.
Even the Astros cheated, and all they wanted to do was win a freaking World Series. So everyone cheats.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Okay, don't put it out there, Nez. We don't need that. Let's operate under the ethical principle that everyone here is playing by the same rules.
I'm joking.
I'm joking. They're enjoying these games in the same capacity we are. And let's talk some overall strategy to this contest for tonight specifically. And one thing I want to talk about with the kickers, and this isn't foolproof. This is just kind of like an overarching correlation model thought process, is if we are going to start pairing kickers, it's optimal in quotations, according to correlation patterns, that you would pair it with the opposing quarterback. Okay. That is kind of like ground level. You could pair it with your own quarterback, or you can pair opposing quarterback, is kind of like where my mind goes. Do you guys tend to agree with that? Like just as an overarching rule of thumb, or do you think that's not right, John? You're an idiot.
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, if a game is a slog, so to speak, and the kickers are the only ones actually scoring real life points, then like the most likely, unless the ground game is like really popping off for San Francisco, like the QBs probably have one of the higher ceilings with that, just based. I mean, I don't know. I really don't quite know the story behind making that correlation work, but just because it's the first time that they're here, I don't hate the thought process. My thought was like taking a kicker in like a 3-1. That was okay. Where that's my favorite spot to take it. Whether
as a 3-1 and not as the one-off, just to clarify, or you want the 3-1 and the kicker is the 1.
That's what I was kind of thinking. With the kicker as the 1. I don't that could be silly, but
well, if we think through the game script associated with that, that means you're saying the onslaught side is winning, these 3 players are scoring all the points. They're scoring touchdowns and not field goals. And then the other team is playing. So if that script is like a 24-9 game or 21-9 kind of game, and you get the 3 scores on the other side from the kicker, and then you get the onslaught from the scoring side, right?
Right. Yeah. Just because these are a couple like little bend don't break defenses, it's a game where, you know, future clip alert. We could see a lot of foots in action here.
Yeah, I like that.
Foots in
Newbie,
action.
is that where you gravitate toward?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. What about same team kicker correlation? Are you in on that, or you prefer opposing kicker? What do you like?
I mean, from my lineups that I've done, it's been, yeah. I mean, I agree with it in general, and I think I agree with Silas's point that just only if it's a rushing quarterback, we don't have that here. So, yeah, I've done a kicker. I haven't got the only quarterback I have is Garoppolo in the 3rd. So I literally don't. I'm just bypassing that. So I really have nothing to go off with my lineups. But yeah, in a general rule of thumb, I agree with it. Since if again we're porting showdown.
Yeah, and then the other thing I'd say about the showdown knowledge is if you have quarterback or you have double quarterback, I think you want a pass catcher. If you go double quarterback, I think you want a pass catcher from each side. And I don't think you want to run pocket passers naked. Now, you definitely can win that way, and maybe everyone is thinking this way. So, you know, having a 3-1 on like the Rams side and having, say you have Stafford and Garoppolo at the picks 3-4 at the 1-2 turn, and then you end up with Higbee, and then instead of going, you know, Allen or Allen Robinson or something like that, you take Jawan Jennings, and you have a pass catcher from each side paired with the quarterbacks. So I do think having the quarterbacks and having the kicker introduces some really good correlation to talk through. And these guys in the chat are already getting ahead of us because we were going to jump into this one too. Is Eric talking about double kicker, and Willis talking about getting unique with double kicker, because nobody wants to click it. Nobody wants to go Debo Garoppolo at the Debo Garoppolo. Basically, the only place you can do it is from the 3-hole, in my opinion, and it's on a Debo plus Jeff Wilson start, or a Debo plus Garoppolo, something like that, and then double tap kicker in the 3rd and 4th round. That's kind of the only logical spot, I think, to do it on this contest. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I don't know that it makes sense to do it with like a kicker team. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but to me, I'm thinking I might have stumbled on my words but I mean a running back team if I hadn't said that. Just because like if a running back is going to get into the end zone, I feel running backs in this contest feel touchdown dependent to me, and if they're not getting in, then that lends itself to the kickers. I feel like there's some inverse correlation there. Obviously, I don't have any data in front of me to go along with that, but that's my lean there.
Okay, yeah, Nimi, what do you think?
I like that. Yeah, no. If I'm going double kicker, honestly, I'd like to get the stack, obviously, but I'm not for all my kicking teams. Yeah, I don't really have a quarterback on them, so I think it's just in context of how you build the lineup and how you get there. Because like Debo is interesting because he doesn't need the quarterback with him per se. I mean, even Ayuk can get there on an end around. I mean, they do it a lot. So I'm just actually envisioning how their offense plays, and it's just like, yeah. So, I mean, I think you could do double kicker with anything that's viable. In terms of the running backs, I agree with that. It's kind of like, in my mind, I think it's negative correlation. I don't have any data in front of me like Nez, but
okay.
I mean, I definitely can see the first 2 touchdowns are running backs, and then it's just actually basically don't break, and it's just field goals after that. So I mean, you can build out a lineup and then build it for that script. You know what I mean? Like we were saying, you can build for any scenario that happens.
Okay,
especially with these 2 defenses. I think they're really tough. It's gonna be a tough slate. It's not going to be high. I mean, obviously the total reflects that. So
no, I like that. I like where your mind's at for this game specifically, for sure. Let's talk about, so I have a correlation chart that, I mean, it's mine. So, it's not scripture, it's not gospel. If you want to listen to my donkey ass talk about some correlation patterns here and stuff like that. But for the Thursday night, I built out the Thursday night one, and then this guy knows what time it is. Holy,
It's time to talk correlation.
Yeah, right.
Honk the toy.
Same team running back, so for same team correlations with the kicker, same team quarterback with same team kicker is highest correlation of 0.21. Lowest correlation would be like kicker with opposing team defense. Obviously that doesn't play here. It would be kicker with opposing WR1. But that negative correlation is literally a factor of like 0.02. So it's barely on the radar.
Yeah.
Same team running back 1 with kicker 0.11. So that's the second best positive correlation on the same team in which you can have. So if you're going same team correlation of kicker, it's usually best with quarterback, and it's second best with your own running back.
Interesting.
And it's in theory worst in quotations, even though the negative correlation isn't so great, with opposing team WR1.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that's some of the that's some of the stuff that I work off. And again, this changes slate by slate. It changes by players. So this is just like a baseline correlation model, but then it changes as the game total changes, and it changes as the players are different, right? So that's just my first overarching thought. And then we know stuff like tight end and quarterback is one of the most positively correlated things on the slate, or WR1 and quarterback is one of the most positively correlated things on the slate. So I think when we're taking quarterbacks, we really have to aim for getting that number 1 pass catcher or that number 1 tight end as our correlation there. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys have to add? You think the field's going to think the same, obviously?
I think immediately what I was going to say that I saw in the chat from Silas was, the kickers don't have a projection, right? So it immediately makes it like it's hard to, or you would think the standard, like as he puts in there, the default ranking, bro, they won't click it because they don't have a projection. So that's immediately where I think it could be just immediately unique. And that, but now we're talking about it. I mean, again, I don't know how full the contest is, so I don't know how much of an influence or how many of these people will put in for volume and do double kicker, but that's something that I find very interesting. As
you just disgusted him. He just couldn't.
Yeah,
believe
he's like,
that
okay, well,
opinion.
I apologize.
You know what?
I don't have my professional correlation sheet here to talk from.
You drove me out of the building. No, I had to get this guy a bone so he'd stop squeaking that damn toy.
I love it.
50K spots left in there in the contest going down right now.
Yeah.
50K?
Or sorry, 5K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry, I got
like,
50 on the
this
brain because our
contest?
boy Alan's rich now.
Yeah, I wish I had like stronger leans here, but the way right now that like I ideally like to play it is just get in volume and try not to dupe myself right now. Like I don't really have much stronger leans than that other than going by the rankings in which like it's, Cup, Stafford, and then I probably actually I might lean Jimmy over Debo like a little bit just to that might be like my weirdest take is, give me.
You'd rather have the passer than the pass catcher.
Yeah. I have Jimmy over Debo right now in my defaults.
Is Stafford
Cool.
2 for you? Because Debo's 2 for me.
Yeah, Stafford's 2 for me. Yeah, I like the pass catchers here, or not the pass throwers here personally.
Okay. I have
my
Cup Debo as
my
mine,
mean
so.
projection head.
This brings up a really good point that we kind of touched on a little bit earlier, how we said, it's conceivable how a super team can get built because, it's very logical to create some front end patterns where, someone takes Jimmy plus a pass catcher, then the other person takes 2 49ers and you end up with a Cup and Stafford team. Robert brings up the fact that the more Galbrain he goes in these contests, that he can give someone else a super team. And that's kind of been my thought process too. And I did a draft earlier where I was even shocked that Debo went 2, even though you guys said Debo went 2. that you like Debo at 2, my first inclination when I saw Debo go 2 was like, holy shit, you just gave them 2 quarterbacks on the turn every time, like easiest click of their life. So I don't know. And I think that's why this makes the contest so much more appealing and so much more interesting than the previous one. Is there's viable ways to win and think through this, but there's also viable ways to battle through ways of getting unique without giving away too much value, right?
Yeah. Just if you get cute, if you want to get cute, just do it in the 3 and 4 rounds for the love of God. Just do it then. If that happens, then like, you know what, like and someone wins with the cool combo I didn't get, like, good for them. But geez, just please no more double QB cup teams. That's all I ask.
Yeah, but then, that's painting a certain script, because it could just as easily a team that's readily available to everyone. So let's use this weekend as example, right?
Okay.
There were lots of Lamar Andrews teams out there. They didn't matter. There were Diggs, Andrews, and Allen teams out there. They didn't matter, right? Because the skeleton key was Goff and Hawkinson. So then tonight, it's kind of like, well, who's to say you're wrong by going Jeff Wilson and Cam Akers at the turn, at the 3-4, and then going double kicker. And we're literally playing a game that's 14-9. And the two scores are from the running backs, and you know what I mean? Like, I just painting like
that's been my MO of what I've been trying to say the entire time is you can give these people a super team. They still have to go out and play the game and then score the points. So in theory, you're giving them a higher.
I feel better about losing money to a shit team.
Yeah, same.
You know what I'm saying? I'd rather. Yeah. I feel immensely better, but losing to a shit team than losing to a super team.
Yeah. I mean, Eric brings up a good point. It's like we can explain these super teams we can explain these super teams the majority of the time, and the ones we can't are the ones that raise red flags, right? And that's just kind of a general line of thinking here with these contests. Like he's bringing up how'd you get Tyreek plus Mixon plus Higgins, and I agree. I have no idea, and I was in that contest too, and it was just kind of like, okay. What do you guys say we draft 1 or 2 here? We're almost pushing that magic number, and then we call her a night and call her a day.
Jeez.
And yeah.
Sir,
West Coast.
12? Yeah, isn't it 12 there?
Yeah, it's West Coast. I'm ready for bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get in here. Put our money where our mouth is. Oh no!
What's going on here?
Give it a little refresh.
Yeah, I'll give it the refresh.
Did they just? Oh, you done?
I hope you didn't get rugged. I hope you didn't get rugged in real time.
There we go.
Woo! Woo! I was literally about to type in. I was like, well, you would be all over it, so you would know. I'm like, what happened? What do we got going on here?
Oh wow, we have Raheem Mostert in here. That's crazy. What's up, friend of the show?
Yo, friend of the show, Raheem.
We had Evan Silva in here too.
RB1 for the Dolphins. By volume.
Yeah, thanks for being RB1. My other running backs are just going down. Oh my! In best ball, it's been tough.
Did you guys see that Hawkinson yesterday 7th highest point total for a tight end in the modern history of fantasy? That's insane. But that just goes to show like what we were talking about with Mark, just like that tight end, like the tight end position is really like that is it seems like to be the onesie positions. I guess you could even extend it.
Yeah, you needed that. Yeah,
they are like what have been defining these champions, which is just really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point.
I mean, yeah, you can there's just so many other options in the other spots, but not QB that you can get. And then if you just if a tight end puts up that big of an outlier, so you have to have them.
You guys want to do the staff thing here? Or
that's been my pick, but I don't think that giving somebody like Jimmy Stafford is insane. I've gotten that a few times.
Okay, well, let's take Debo then. Let's take Debo because I know Numi liked
Debo for sure has the higher ceiling, right? Like we can agree. We can agree there.
Twice, and I don't understand what's going on.
Cup at 2 twice? Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen
Cup.
Have
not seen that.
Yeah,
and then Stafford almost fell on the way back, but he got picked at 1,
Must
2,
be
3,
nice.
4.
Hey, it must be nice for
Almost
that
there,
run
but
good, eh? Well, it must
oh
be
yeah,
nice,
ran
eh?
so swell there. I was panicking. I think I screwed up the draft anyway. It's like this shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, so now let's talk through this one in general. If Jimmy doesn't fall, it's interesting because Jimmy, this is very interesting because even though that was available to him to take 2 quarterbacks, he still doesn't do it. And then we end up with Jimmy
like
plus
Jimmy here.
Debo,
Yeah,
which
sure.
I like, but like Jimmy plus Debo is also the default click at 3-4 in a
I like
standard
going Wilson
ADP
with them, weirdly enough. Just for
with
that with Debo.
and then letting see, like just for
it's
uniqueness.
gross though, because if you do that and Kittle doesn't get taken, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
normally,
then you're like, well, shoot,
normally
I was
it's
trying to fade him.
normally
Might I
it's,
interest you guys in Jeff
Sure.
Wilson in the 3rd round now?
yeah, I don't see why not, because
Ooh.
you're just saying the game script is, you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
Jeff Wilson
100%.
can fall to a tutty at the 1. Every running back can, I guess, I know, but it's just like
Jeff Wilson's got some really good usage, so
yeah, he does.
I like it.
And I
know.
don't think they don't seem keen on using what's his name? Holden? Who's the backup? Mason.
Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason.
Yeah, they don't want to use him.
Yeah,
I think
guess,
my eyes gravitate towards Hendo being the pass catching running back on the other team.
I don't like it, man. They haven't been using him much.
No,
I would take Skoranek. I'd rather take Skoranek.
I've been taking Henderson
Okay.
specifically because I don't think people are going to take him.
I don't think people are going to take enough Skoranek, man. And PPR, he's extra.
Yeah, that's very
now.
Yeah.
That's
in full PPR.
Let's talk about Skoranek just in general, or more in general, more specifically. We've seen him have a 4-catch game, a 2-catch game, and a 4-catch game with a high of 66 yards. He's yet to find the end zone this year, and his snap rates 88, 87, 85. They're basically running a 3 wide receiver sets. That's basically what they run exclusively, but we're talking 3 wide receiver sets on a high pass, a team that wants to be a high pass volume offense, and they're only using 3 of them. So consolidating those targets amongst the 3 plus Higbee. So I think in terms of a normal showdown slate, when you're thinking about a 3rd wide receiver, I think Skoranek is very different than your average 3rd wide receiver. Does that make sense to you guys?
Different and because he's on the field a ton, as opposed to
different as in he's actually used, and he's not just like a dart who's playing 30 to 40% of snaps and is going to you're baking on a touchdown. Like I'm talking about a 3rd wide receiver who's playing volume.
Yeah, he's on the field a lot. Obviously, the target share is not necessarily there because Higbee's and even Robinson have been doing a little bit more. Oh, okay, he's playing full. He has been actually. I thought I did.
Fullback. Two of the sharp guys in the chat right now, Willis and Silas, bringing up the fact that he's lined up at fullback a couple times, which, I mean, maybe not great for his prospects as a wide receiver, but anytime he's on the field and he's involved in the game plan in weird ways, we will take it, right?
Yeah, it could be a bounce back week for Hendo, but for me personally, I feel like the writing has been on the wall that they've been trying to get Akers more and more usage and Henderson less in conjunction with that. So it could be a catch up week. They're using Henderson a lot, like inexplicably. That wouldn't surprise me. And if that happens, I'll eat my L. But I'm a hard fade on one of the last picks. So whoop the F and do. But that's where I'm at.
I want to say one thing just about a general strat point with the kickers is kickers introduce the thought that we're not going to go deep in the player pool, and maybe people gravitate to kickers as their last round pick. So we've already talked about how we're gravitating because of their mean projection. Maybe we see a scenario in this contest where the late pieces, the Kyle Juszczyks, the Juwan Jennings, the even Hendo we're talking about, are not as highly owned as they normally would because the depth isn't as necessary in this contest as a normal old version of the showdown slate. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I still don't really like those guys. I mean,
Yeah.
no one does. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as we move forward and we have different matchups with deeper options, definitely will come into play. I don't really have a favorite there. I guess Juwan Jennings, but I mean, obviously, Juszczyk, like every so often gets his way into the end zone, and this is the slate where he can actually be used. But
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, Numi, but I'm not. But I guess that's the whole point. But I don't have a target for people right now.
That is the thesis of the play, is that nobody else is playing.
Is
them,
that people
right?
on these shows, are telling you.
I mean, you want to bring up touchdown dependent. It's those are the guys that you're hoping falls into that. Hand off to the fullback, fake to the running back. Next thing you know, it's Kyle Juszczyk for the first score, and we're just like, that's the thesis.
And we've seen it once this year, and he's playing 60% of snaps.
That's true, but then that it's just adding the kickers, like it just makes it like, will his score now be more important than a kicker? And it's just
Great point.
It's like will those guys that we were now hoping for. And then it's just like, okay, well now they're even more going to be. Oh, I don't know. It's just that's the thing that makes the kicker. It maybe doesn't. It does those guys more like because like you would see, I don't know Kendall Blanton, but you would see some people just throw like some at Ross Dwelly, Kendall Blanton.
They would have had to.
You would have to throw at that. You'd most likely, because if they get there and you have the other guys in there, they're going to hit. In these contests with the kickers and the quarterbacks, it makes them seem less irrelevant, but maybe that's not, I don't know. That's in my mind.
Mm-hmm. No, I fully agree with that, but I think the field feels that way too.
Exactly.
So maybe the way we get unique is these one-offs again, and we're not the kicker guys, because the kickers will project well. Eric throws out the Marlon Mack call, hasn't touched the ball yet this year. Got activated off the practice squad last week. I do not believe he played a snap last week. He played 0 snaps, but I believe he was active because they went 3 running backs last week with Wilson, Jordan Mason, who's primarily special teamer, and then Marlon Mack. Be interesting to see. I think in the context of this game environment, the one-offs are not as appealing because that Rams offense seems pretty consolidated with the exception of the 2 running backs. We don't really know what's going to happen usage-wise. Numi, you're giving me a face. What do you think?
Look at chat. That has to be voided, right? Paul's team that he just put in there. That has to be voided. And then everyone feels the same way.
Paul just got a Cup, Stafford, Jimmy, and Wilson team. I mean, I like my knee-jerk reaction to that is
for the top 5 ADP. What are we doing here?
So like my thought process to that is, it's for the top 5 ADP. It doesn't make sense on the surface.
He got lucky. He got in a good draft that you fell in. And it's nothing again. I'm not thinking he colluded at all. It's just, what are the other people in his draft doing?
Right. Yeah. The only conceivable thing there is that the other 2 are doing something together weird. Like, you know what I mean? Is the only way, because we know Paul and we know Paul isn't going to do something like that.
It's the thing that I was talking about earlier. He got into a room that simply had just people that I just feel like, they don't know what they're doing, or they're just getting really, really weird when they don't need to. And that's nothing on anyone in there. Like it just makes it, that's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll talk about this all the time. And we've talked about it to death many a times about these showdown contests is that's kind of the nuance of it is you can't build that. You can't dupe that. So
He could be trolling. He's probably just trolling. Way to get the reaction out. Good job. Win 20K and push buttons.
It's a good troll job if it is, but I respect it. All right. What do you say? Last draft, and then we call her. We wish everyone good luck for tonight, and that'll be that.
Yeah, we'll save some EV for ourselves.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Tomorrow there's still a little something in the works. Last week I I did a little shout out on Thursday, made a little clip about a potential ship chaser joining us on the show. Then it kind of fell by the wayside and maybe wasn't happening. Now it might be happening again, but I'm not going to say any names and I'm not going to pump this. This is just for the select few who happen to maybe be watching right now, our dedicated, loyal 20 live viewers right now. But there might be a very special guest tomorrow. Like a very, very special guest, but we're not sure yet. We're not sure. We're not pinning our hopes on it. We'll see.
It's Josh Jacobs.
It's Josh Jacobs. He's coming to celebrate with Noomi. Noomi gave him the 10K to come on the show.
I would love that. I would have tears in my eyes meeting that man.
I love to see it. Okay, Cup goes one again. I say we build the quarterback this time. We rolled the same draft slot just so we get something a little different to look at for the stream. Dog, sit. Tucker, what's going on, man?
Dude, he says, "What's going on with you, sir? We are way past dog park time."
Yeah, he's going, yo, man, it's dog park 30.
Dog park 30.
Yeah.
That's great.
This is
always an interesting spot for me.
Yeah, I think this is the most fun thing to talk through right now, and there's a decision point here. You can make a case. Okay, well, you guys just say a name for me quickly.
Jeff Wilson.
Okay.
Kittle.
I think there's the fact that you guys both said different names is great. There's a case that can be made, in my opinion, from draft slot number 5 that you could take Wilson, Ayuk, Kittle, Akers, or Allen Robinson and not be wrong.
Right.
Who do you guys like here? Ayuk, Akers, and A-Rob come back to us. He got a little
A-Rob?
Yeah, same.
But I don't know if he fall, you know what I mean, type deal.
Yeah, like if we don't take him, does he fall? And then this is where we also have to think a little defense too, is now we gave him a Debo, Ayuk, like, you know what I mean? We gave him a triple San Fran build by not taking Ayuk. So this contest is just like, this draft in particular is really illustrating how fun these drafts are comparatively to the other contests, right? Like right or wrong on our decision making right now, the fact that picks 5 through 10 have all been decision making points, right? It's not just been standard issue till the last round and then going. And I think I kind of like the idea of going double pass catcher here. What do you guys think?
I think a cup fade is probably like the best interest of us trying to take down the
smart
20K.
Play. That's a smart play. I like it.
Yeah, because if the cup is the 101 no matter what, and we admit the fact that people are going to have Cup plus Stafford already, well, what's the best path for us getting to victory with a Stafford team? Well, then it's betting on his other pass catchers. It's not betting on Stafford and then not the pass catchers and buying San Fran side. It's betting on him passing to other pass catchers, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just some things to think about if you're not already thinking this way. Like, you need to know who you're up against with each and every lineup that you're drafting. So,
right. No, 100%. And I think it's very good for us to articulate these things. Anyways, first edition ever, all time of the Winner's Circle.
We're gonna get you in there. I can't reach off the screen to grab your badge and just like pluck you in the Winner's Circle with us, but it's coming.
Let's go back to week 1 there. Second place, I almost made it. Let's go back to those baseball streets. Give me early season baseball where, Roto-Run was at the top of the board for weeks on end. Get me back in that circle.
You wanted that guy out of the lobby since he's winning so much. Just like, God.
I love the Ipsum Lorem on that trophy too. It's still got the Ipsum Lorem nonsense on the plate. That's great.
Yeah, on the bottom there. I don't know. It's just some image I found.
That's like the default text for like.
Yeah. I was wondering where you saw it. I'm like, oh, it's way down there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, another great stream, gentlemen. Congratulations to both of you again. We got 1,500 in the golf. We got 10K in the football. Shout out to Alan, just a guy with 50 dimes in his pocket. Let's
cool,
go.
Dude.
Yeah, nice dude. Appreciate him coming on. And hey, offer stands. Anyone who gets it done out here Anyone who gets it done gets that 50 dimes. Man of my word, you're coming on the show. Open invite, like it's coming. You know what? Maybe even come second and you get 20 dimes. Maybe we'll even consider it, Paul. Maybe we'll even consider it. I'm not sure. I don't know. He might have to pony up and get the.
Paul's probably scared to come on now. He doesn't want to face the heat for this lineup he just drafted. Like he's gonna get grilled on here. He's like, it's gonna be like. It's gonna be the fourth circle of this drama that's been happening in all these competitive niche areas.
Paul, you're invited on tomorrow.
Kidding.
If you ship this, oh my gosh, it's time.
He wants Paul.
It's like the favorite time of the program. The favorite time of the program.
All right, favorite time of the program. Where's the button? The end.